The fire is dying. You are lying on a bed of dry grass, your back against a limestone wall, and beyond the flickering circle of orange light, the world belongs to things that can see in the dark. You have no claws. You have no fangs. Your skin is thin, and your senses are dull compared to the leopard watching from the acacia branch 300 yards away. And yet, you are not just waiting for the sun. You are doing something that no other creature on this planet has ever done. You are simulating the future. We often imagine our ancestors as primitive, driven only by immediate survival, hiding in caves and trembling at every snap of a twig. But that assumption is wrong. To understand the prehistoric mind, we have to understand what it was actually built for. Your ancestors didn't survive by being the strongest. They survived by becoming the only animal capable of worrying about a Tuesday that hadn't happened yet. Before falling asleep, an ancient human wasn't just resting. They were processing a massive stream of data, the inventory of survival. The first thing they thought about was the perimeter. In 2009, Richard Wrangham argued that controlled fire did more than just cook meat. It created a psychological boundary. Before they closed their eyes, they weren't just looking at the flames. They were calculating the fuel. How much wood is left? Who is on the first watch? Is the wind shifting? If the smoke blows toward the ravine, the scent of the camp carries directly to the hyena den. This wasn't just instinct. It was a checklist. But here's what nobody talks about. The silence of the night was the first laboratory of the human mind. When the physical world went dark, the internal world turned on. Yuval Noah Harari describes this as the cognitive revolution, the ability to believe in things that aren't there. While a lion dreams of the zebra it killed today, your ancestors were dreaming of the mammoth they hadn't seen in 3 months. They were visualizing the seasonal migration, the exact curve of a riverbed, and the way the mud feels when a herd is close. They were planning hunts in locations they hadn't visited since the last rains, assigning roles to people who were currently asleep 10 feet away. The social simulation. The second thing they thought about was the tribe. In a small group of 50 to 100 individuals, your social standing was your life insurance. Before sleep, the ancient mind was a theater of social dynamic. Did the lead hunter look at me with resentment when I took the choice cut of meat? Is the elder's cough getting worse? Who can I trust if the leopards come? They were running theory of mind simulations, calculating the intentions, fears, and loyalties of everyone in the circle. This social anxiety wasn't a defect, it was a survival mechanism. If you were cast out of the group, you weren't just lonely. You were dead. Every awkward interaction and every shared look was analysed under the stars, because the strength of the tribe was the only thing that made up for the lack of claws, the burden of the body. And then there was the fear that leaves no fossils. As you lay there, you felt every ache in your joints. In 2016, researchers found evidence of malignant tumours in human ancestors dating back nearly 2 million years. Ancient humans knew that a small lump on the leg or a lingering pain in the chest could be a death sentence. They didn't have the words osteosarcoma or metastasis, but they had the observation. They thought about the members of the tribe who had simply wasted away. They thought about the bulging tumours that the Egyptians would later write about in the Edwin Smith papyrus. They knew that even if they survived the lion, even if they survived the famine, there was an invisible adversary that could start quietly, deep inside the bone, and hollow them out from the within. They felt the fragility of their own skin, the training ground of dreams. But here's the part we usually miss. Sleep itself was an evolutionary weapon. Scientists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups like the Hadza or the San have found that human sleep patterns are uniquely short and deep compared to other primates. We traded long, light sleep for intense, rapid eye movement cycles. Why? Because we needed the time to dream. Dreaming was the threat simulation center. It was where the brain practiced the chase, the fight, and the escape without the risk of being eaten. Your ancestors spent their nights rehearsing for the one moment where they would have to be perfect. They were running 40-kilometer persistence hunts in their minds, feeling the heat of the midday sun and the rhythm of their own sweat glands long before they ever stepped out onto the savannah. The legacy in your head. If you find yourself lying awake at 2 a.m. worrying about a presentation, a social slight, or a strange pain in your side, you aren't experiencing a modern glitch. You are experiencing the very architecture that allowed your species to take over the planet. That anxiety is the cognitive revolution still running its code. Your brain is trying to secure the perimeter. It is trying to ensure you are still a valuable member of the tribe. It is trying to identify the invisible threats before they become visible. The mammoth is gone. The leopard is no longer waiting in the hallway, but the mind that defeated them is still there, staring into the dark, calculating the wind, and planning for a tomorrow it hasn't seen yet. You don't have the claws of a bear or the speed of a cheetah. You have something far more dangerous. You have the ability to worry, and that worry is the reason you are here.